difficult. It's kind of difficult sometimes.
So you need to go else to do it.
Yeah, that's what usually happens. Everybody, go ahead. City Council meeting May 12th, 2025, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Scott,
Here.
Councilmember Milner,
Present.
Councilmember Underwood,
Present.
Mayor Exley,
Here.
Councilmember Blackwell,
Here.
Councilmember Taylor. Here. Councilmember Riley.
Here.
All right, our invocation is going to be given tonight by Councilman Scott, and then just remain standing for our pledge.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to come together, Lord. We ask that you touch our hearts and minds, Lord, and Lord, as we go through this meeting, we ask for guidance for our staff, the officers and citizens here, Lord. Lord, we just ask that you touch our hearts and mind. The decision that we make is not only for this day, but for generations to come. Lord, we come thanking you for the weather, rain, much needed, Lord. And Lord, we ask that at the end of this meeting, Lord, you guide us safely back to our appointed places. This is blessed words in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance. To approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
I got a motion by Ms. Underwood. I got a second by Ms. Riley. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion's in order to approve the minutes from April 14th.
I got something for that. The last page for it, when we voted to adjourn, you had it highlighted yellow, Madam Clerk, and I had, Ms. Riley, it's the motion, and second was, Ms. Underwood, and it was unanimous for that agenda. If no other corrections, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I got a motion by Mr. Blackwell. I got a second by Ms. Riley. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And then we have a request for the approval of the April 28, 2025 minutes. If anybody has anything about it.
You could all see it and check out.
What was that correction?
It was on the first or second order of business. It was the second on that. And she was going to verify that.
Yes, and then again, we had a highlighted section. 6, when we went into executive session, we voted to come back out. And the motion was, again, Brandy Riley, and second was myself. And the vote was unanimous. I make a motion to approve the April 28 minutes with corrections.
Second.
I got a motion by Mr. Blackwell. I got a second by Ms. Underwood. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, same thing every week. Public comment shall pertain to our agenda items only. Should you wish to appear for council, those forms can be found at Lincoln City Hall. Also, there's a motion in order to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
I got a motion by Ms. Riley. I got a second by Ms. Underwood. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Go to old business number 1. Destiny Bradshaw with the Rankin Noon Lions Club request to appear before council. David?
She came before us at the last meeting. This was tabled. She asked to do the parade on Friday night instead of Saturday morning. I think the consensus among council was we wanted to stick with Saturday. She's not here, so.
Yeah, I believe that was our consensus that night.
Yes, sir.
So we just- April.
Um,
You make a motion to do it Saturday night? I mean, Saturday. Yeah, I would.
You make a motion.
Yeah,
Make a motion to remove it from the table.
Well, sorry, first remove it off the table. Can't hear. As you are.
go ahead. I got a motion by Ms. Riley, second.
Second.
And I got a second by Ms. Taylor. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes to remove from the table. And then the motion's in order for keeping it on Saturday. Yeah.
This time I make a motion to keep the Christmas parade on Saturday.
Got a motion by Ms. Riley. I got a second by Ms. Underwood. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll go on to new business. This is vote on a petition filed by Shazad Mahmood with Kimley Horn and Associates requesting a conditional use variance to construct and maintain a 150-foot monopole style wireless telecommunication facility located at 434 South Columbia Avenue. The property is owned by Walmart Real Estate Business Trust and is zoned B2. At their April 15, 2025 meeting, zoning voted 7-0 to recommend approval of this proposed variance. Do you have anything to add to this, Mr. City Manager?
No, sir. We did have a public hearing at the last meeting. I do not see the petitioner here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
If you
Petitioner,
want to come up and state your name,
Ruby Lou.
and then we'll get into, council comments.
Yeah, I'm Bailey Lively, representing Kelly Horn on behalf of SCA Towers to propose this monopole cell tower in the general commercial zone lot. Any questions?
Mr. Scott, start with you. You have any questions?
No. And this is going back to the previous tower that we talked about. One of the concerns I think we discussed last open hearing was being as close as it is to residential. What parameters are built into for this thing to not go sideways as it comes straight down? Or, I mean, if you could tell me a little bit about.
When we submit for a permit, we'll include the structural analysis for the manufactured tower itself, but they're typically, essentially, if they're gonna fall, they fall like this rather than like this. But I think we are meeting all the setbacks, so it's more than tower height plus 10 feet back from the purple line, so it'll still remain on the poster.
So this is a monopole, this is a pole,
That's correct, yeah, like a giant flagpole.
and it's built to collapse, not fall.
And
True.
you are right. I wasn't thinking about it being a monopole. It will fall, but it's still within the purple.
Because it looks like it's kind of close to Walmart.
That's right.
So it's not designed to do this.
You're right. I misspoke on that.
That was a,
Yeah, it's a monopole. You're right, Bill. My bad.
it is in the Walmart parking, correct?
That's correct. So we'll have a lease for our compound area and an access and utility easement from Walmart as the landowner to place this here.
But it meets the distance requirements from another building. But it is a general populated area because I can see parking spots there, so it is where it could possibly, in a bad situation, fall. So I just have concerns with that. I mean, it's still in the populated area.
That's correct.
I mean, whether it's near a house or not, and it is close to Walmart, it's fairly close to the garden center. So I just want to clarify that.
So it's on the garden side of Walmart on that bare piece of property.
Yeah. Kind of bumped out. It's in that part of the park.
No, they voiced my concerns, so I have nothing in.
Charlotte?
So I do have concerns with this as well. I have concerns about how generally populated the area that you're proposing to put this is. I also have visual concerns for the work that we're doing to improve the look of our city. I do understand the reason that you want to put it there, that you guys are, from what I understand, trying to create basically a triangle. I don't think this is the best spot for it. That's all I really have is, I just don't think that it's, that we're considering how much of our population drives in the street right beside it, parks in the parking lot there. The size of the tower itself and what that's visually going to look like in that location.
Ms. Lewis, did planning look at that as far as being in that commercial area, being that close to the Walmart? That being, I guess you could say it's a setback, it's away from the apartments, but is it away from where people?
We did look at the location, however, while there are parking spaces there, the times that I have been over to look at this site and have driven by this area, you don't generally see cars parked in that area, so, and
Are those parking spots going to be removed?
they're not supposed to be removed.
Okay. So not generally and potentially could actually people be parking there? Yes.
This is not a question. Is this designed, if it does fail, to fail inside the fenced-in structure?
No.
No, it will fall
Okay.
past that. But I will say in locations, and this isn't, if I may, this isn't your direct question, but in the case where these towers would fail, it's an extreme wind event where typically people wouldn't be populating this area. Shopping.
I don't operate off of typically.
Yeah. And my concern, this is my concern, we already have a water tower on that back road back there. And I'm just talking about the fact that, like Randy said, the way it looks, we're trying to change the aesthetics of our city and, and then all of a sudden we get just a pole, a flagpole on the back corner of that property, just a concern with, it looks like we're going.
I think that I don't have a problem with what you're trying to do. I have a problem with where you're trying to do it. Just for clarification.
And I'd like to add, I've just spent last weekend in Charleston. And those things are everywhere, and when I see them, they're noticeable. I mean, they really are. But I would also, Terry, I think we've already made an issue, that's an awfully popular drive around area because you've got to drive around to that side of Walmart to go to their repair center. So,
That's the way I drive into Walmart anyway.
so, I mean, that's a very busy area because people are constantly pulling around there to get their cars repaired, because that's a pretty busy repair center.
And access to the gas station that's very
Yes.
close to there as well.
How difficult is it to get collapsible?
So then it will be taller typically. Those designs are over 200, 250 feet. So it's just getting, then on the other side of it would be more noticeable. But I can definitely bring that back to the team.
What about since Ms. Underwood brought it up about they're sticking out everywhere, Charleston, a lot of other cities have placed them inside structures, but I know you can't do it here, but they've also redesigned it where they had something outside it that made it more aesthetically pleasing instead of just a pole with antennas sticking outside. Basically, they made it look like a tree.
Yeah. See,
Stand out bad there. I think.
Because there's no trees around it.
I think if you moved it, if you could get it in a wood line somewhere, that might be something that would be,
That was gonna be my comment. Sometimes those stick out more if people
They
don't
do.
necessarily notice the infrastructure for, power poles, cell towers, but then when it's made to look like a tree and there's not trees nearby, it almost sticks out more. But to your point, if it was near trees, yeah.
I didn't know had been anything else that I was aware of. But y'all see this all over country, I'm sure, but
Yeah,
do that out.
I would say that's the most common one we see that can blend in the best are the tree ones. There's other ones in Charleston you mentioned, off the 126 bridge as an example, I would say of a not great one where there's like concealments that manufacturers make to kind of put a cylinder around the antennas. But again, that's just more stuff in the air to catch people's eye, so.
Does anybody have any more questions up here? Anybody else? Something?
No, sir, I'm good.
All right, motion's in order.
I just, I looked at it, read it, and it's just the congestion, possibility, growth is going on, parking requirements over in that area. You know, they use a lot of storage. I really didn't look at it, but,
I second it. I second it.
Got a motion by Mr. Scott, second by Ms. Wiley to deny approval. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. New business number 2, vote on a resolution of the city of Renton, Georgia, amending the fee schedules for commercial permit fees, planning fees, and residential permit fees of the city of Renton, Georgia to provide an effective repeal. Yeah. All resolutions and parts thereof in conflict herewith for other purposes.
Yes, sir. This is updating our schedule of fees within the city, done with the resolution. The only new fee that's added to this is the wastewater treatment plant fee, which is $3,200 per ERU, $3,600 per ERU, and the ERU is 300 gallon. So that burden would only be borne by a new Durham permit. It's a one-time fee Durham permit. The cost of residence.
That's what they use on commercial is what an ERU is to.
Yes, sir. One home, a single family residence is one ERU. That will be paid for, that fee would be paid at permit by whoever's doing the building. It's a one-time fee. And it will go solely to upgrading or building a new treatment plant.
That's a very important fee to add because we have missed the boat on a lot of property with them. Anybody up here have any questions for city manager here on this?
I would read through that thing out there. It's not related, but we have, renovation. That was my point. Renovation. Terry, would it take more time in renovation? And also, we need to address the issue of the time to renovate. Because we got in, I permit 12 months, so it should be something that will make them meet those standards, that time to complete those projects. But we've got some projects that they'll start renovating them, just stop.
So we have the one right there at 9th Street.
Yeah.
So we have no, I'm asking a question. There's no expiration date on a building permit currently?
We do, we have an expiration date on a permit. If they haven't, it's 6 months, 180 days. If they haven't started, if they have started, then that time clock starts from the last time that generally the last time that they worked on the project or did an inspection is how we treat that.
Because it has been sitting since very easy, that property over there.
So there is no active building permit for 9th Street? They can't just pick up work tomorrow if they wanted to.
If they have an active building permit, then
I'm asking.
Yes, it does, because this,
Brian,
there's not an active building permit on that one.
So the project stopped, sitting right in the middle of our town, looks crappy, and nobody has to do anything.
then that refers to code enforcement, right?
Right, and with that one, they submitted building permits and they actually expired. My understanding is that they could never get a contractor to commit, which is why those, expired. But yes, we can have our code enforcement officer go and see what.
It's anything in the code that deals with the fact that that building is sitting like it is. It's open, it's not secure. I've heard that Chief Mike could verify this. They've had problems with loiters in there. It's a nice dry place.
It's,
It is.
It's a nuisance. It's a nuisance.
And, he needs to get something done with it. So my question is, how do we put pressure on him to do that? And at some point, I mean,
We'll send our code enforcement officer out and see what he can do about it.
and we look and see what we do have on the books. That's what, I think that's our question. Yes.
Yeah.
So Terry, there's nothing really on the books, but you don't know for sure.
I can't say for sure, especially where it relates to building, the building code. I want to say that for the building code portion, they've done what they needed to, I think that's when they had to take like the rest of the glass out and do things like that, to meet the building code part, but like, Robbie said, we could look at it as a nuisance as well and do it from the, UDO stand. We'll look at both codes.
I've taken several phone calls. He's probably seen it every time, so.
but that was.
Is adding that piece to it
And-
this time.
And Mr. Levi, if they're doing a remodel, if it's an additional water user like commercial, if you're gonna add on, they would have to pay that capital cost recovery fee for the additional water usage or stuff like that per ERU. So,
So if they add a bathroom or
yes.
add a bedroom on, if they do any addition,
Single family residential, not so much, but, commercial, yes.
motion.
Motion's in order.
I mean,
Got a motion by Ms. Underwood, I got a second by Mr. Scott, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. New business number 3, request approval of contract with ACC to build a cart barn at City Park property.
Yes, sir. We got 3 prices on the cart barn to go out there next to adjacent to the existing cart barn that's full of golf carts. Then we're gonna build a new one next to it. We've added offices to the existing cart barn, so that's taken away from the space. Got 3 prices. ACC came in with the low price, under $100,000 of $98,849. I ask that you approve this, please.
The offices were much needed
Yes, ma'am.
and storage space, so I can understand this completely. So I make a motion, we approve.
I was wondering where the funds are coming from, because I looked at the budget, not to interrupt their
No,
motion,
you're right.
but, look at the budget, and I didn't see nothing in the golf budget that allocated funds for park barn.
No, and it's not gonna be, where it's gonna come from is general fund, and I wanna add to this, cause I'm gonna tell you guys.
There's nothing on the cover sheet.
No, it's nothing in there, but I'm gonna tell you guys, we have, until this council come in, we have jammed that golf course in every which way that we possibly can. We have sucked money out of it. We have charged them for water bills where we should have never charged a water bill. We were charging them $600 a month for a water bill. Internally, you don't charge internally in your city. You don't charge that. I work at the city of Savannah. We don't charge a dime for water internally. It's absurd. And on top of that, we never gave that place credit for the water that they were getting rid of, that the reason why we purchased it. So for years, all I did was sit back and heard how that place was running us in the dirt. And here we are now. There's a lot of things that's gonna come up that we're gonna see because we are acting as a good steward, a good council. There's things that we're gonna see that's gonna come up that is not in the budget. And it's because we're doing things to change the way that this city looks. I don't care where we gotta pull the money for Macomber Park. Macomber Park has been let down for 20-something years. It's time to invest back into it. There was no vision to put that on a budget. So basically what has to happen is the general fund has to refund that. But when you look at where their income is now and what they're bringing in, you know, to the golf course, I mean, when we took over as council, they had 60 people as members there. They have over 160 members now. We have brought tournaments back there. The Rotary tournament came back there. It was a huge success. There is money coming into that golf course. And you will never get anything out of anything unless you invest in it. You won't get anything.
Well, Kevin, we weren't even paying, if we had to pay to get rid of that water,
Oh, God.
we wouldn't be.
I want to bring the budget back into the conversation for a second, because this year's budget, I don't want to call it an anomaly, it's an anomaly. We didn't have a finance director. We had Whitney there doing it. I had just gotten there. I don't know anything about the city at that time. So the budget that we have is not a budget like I'm used to working with. Thank goodness now we have Hadassah. She understands the process that I've always dealt with, how we've always done it. And it'll be done that way this year. So I felt sort of hands tied in that process, because we've been without a finance officer for 2 years. And Whitney's job solely was to get us ready for the audit. It wasn't to do a budget. So she was, you know, back and forth doing that. So this year's budget is a different animal. It's
And Robbie, it's
and I-
been 10 years.
and I-
It's been more
and
expensive.
I had the conversation with Councilwoman Underwood today. My staff don't, and I'm not saying anything negative about my staff by any means, but they don't know how to operate under a budget. They don't even understand if they will come ask for money, and my first question, is it in your budget? Well, yes. Well, you don't have to ask me. That's been approved. You spend that money, you know, but they come in asking permission to spend money that's in a budget.
Right,
And that's, you can't effectively run a department
right.
like that. You got your hands tied.
Yeah, and you have got your staff here with Hadassah training our people in the
Exactly.
field to know what to look for. I mean, you got people that didn't know what to look for in a budget because they've been told every year. It's just like the rec department. I'm not saying it, but Mike used to tell me, Kevin, I get $110,000 a year at McCumber. How in the world can you operate that off of $110,000 a year? And it was just here, that's all they need to have, a SPOS money, that's it. And you can't operate like that because eventually it catches you. And that's what's happening to us right now. We're at a growth spurt and it's caught us. But, you know, everybody fails to, you know, we look past the fact that, you know, Hadassah's, you know, she's found this money. We get this money in the right accounts now. We're drawing $40,000 to $60,000 in interest a month. And that $40,000 and $60,000 has to be allocated somewhere because we have to balance the budget. So it has to go somewhere. So we need to start thinking about that in the upgrades that we're making and continue to improve the city. I have not heard one person, and Miss Riley said it to me the other day, and she's not like big into going out to the rec, but she told me everybody that has come into her place has told her just how great McCumber Ballpark is.
Oh, it needed it.
Incredible.
It needed it.
And it just comes time. I mean, right now, we have got a park over at Giles, which should never have ever gotten to look the way that it looks. We have done an injustice for that street and for that whole area. It's time to put money into it and build something nice and get it well lit where everybody can enjoy. And everybody talks about equity and they scream equity, but then you don't want to spend the money to be equitable. Well, let's be equitable. Let's put the money in Giles Park. Let's fix it like it's supposed to be. And let's do the right thing instead of, you know, I don't want to spend.
I'm glad you're saying that, Mr. Mayor, because I will be in front of y'all in the next couple of meetings with some fencing quotes, because we got to get it bent. I'm reading the irrigation.
Say something with Robert and situation. Justin came in, we struggled quite a few years with inadequate people that deal with finance. Even the management, but my concern now, you have to put money in anything if you want to do it. Your desire, where your intent would be. But right now, at this point, I would like to make sure that we're sitting down and discussing money because we got higher projects. Yeah, rec is great. We need the kids. We need to focus on it. The golf course came through. It saved because it came on a consent order. And Robbie stunned me when he was telling me about $600 a month.
Yes.
But the thing is, we the council need to sit down and look at these funding, because these funding, we've got some high priority funding. I'd like to see what our intent and where those monies coming from. We need to sit down and discuss that.
And I would,
Reserve, we've got a reserve, have a decent reserve. Come in, but, expenditures for departments. Normal time, if you're dealing with sales tax funding coming in, there's a certain time that funding coming in. That funding's not coming in February. That budget that you're talking about, we either need to know ahead of time that we can take this money out of reserve or somewhere to move those projects in those ahead. Because if we just start in March and everybody comes in and wants to spend everything in their budget,
So
in April, what we've got.
I agree with you. I will say this, it is, for a city our size, we have a guideline for how much should be in reserve. And in my opinion, it is just as negligible to have too much money in those funds and not have invested in the community like we should have, as it is to not have that money in the reserve. And currently, those reserves are very high for a city our size because the city has been negligible in investing in the community. The golf course is a very large part of the community for Rankin. So I think it is definitely fair to say, hey, where are these funds coming from? And have this open discussion. But at the end of the day, and I do think that we do have lots of priority lists and things like that for the larger projects that need to happen within the city. So we are having those conversations. Do we need to continue to have them? Absolutely. I just want to say that I know that I've been involved in several conversations about priorities and things like that. But we will have things like this that come up and.
Well, we had workshops too, so.
and I want to, but Dawson's really good at what he's doing, but he's still doing it. And there's a lot that she's still working on. So she doesn't have everything in order. She's going piece by piece. We have the T-SPLOS portion in order. She's got that done. She's going from different T-SPLOS, LOS, everything. So it's a work in progress and it's going to take some time because it was a mess.
Just like that, in the last month, we've approved things, for the police department that weren't necessarily listed in the budget because we're identifying things that we have, our city leadership was a little negligible on. In providing the things that we needed. And not out of any type of ill intent or malice or anything like that. I'm not saying that. It's just not knowing how much money is there will cause you to not spend money. And I understand that.
And Brandy, that's what, that,
But if you don't have the money, then how do you spend it?
And that's what I'm saying.
well, I would like to say this, that Brandy's right. And Brandy, I was thinking of, my grandparents lived through the Depression and never spent a dime. They didn't spend a dime they didn't have. And our previous councils lived in such petty days, mostly because they didn't charge property taxes and stuff, that they struggled so much. They were scared to spend money, and I understand that. But we're at a different point in time. And the other afternoon, I was at the golf course, and a man came up to me, and he said, Mona, I was out at Macomber, just rode out there. His kid played baseball in college, played for the Savannah Bananas. He said, I walked Macomber Park, and I wish my child had had that. He said, I saw y'all had perfect game and wish my kid had had that. And he said, whatever you're doing, you guys keep on doing. We're right behind you. And this community is behind us. They want to see these improvements, but we do have to be fiscally responsible. But I trust Robbie and Hadassah. They say the funds are available. And it's because I don't think they would have brought this to us if they didn't think the funds were there. Hadassah would have been saying, no, stop. So that's the other thing. I trust them and their knowledge of what they're doing, that they've brought this and let us bring this forward because the monies are available. And I just want to, I mean, and I think we've got to continue. I'm gonna trust Robbie to run the city with his staff and help us create this vision, and this is part of it. And I was at the golf course last Tuesday night, Michelle was there. Guys, there was kids and adults all over the place, and it wasn't people from Lost Plantation. It was people from all over Lincoln, there were people from Springfield. You've never seen so many people, they didn't have enough seats for people. I mean, it's a great thing going on out there. Let's keep it going.
And I think it's good. There is. And we went over some of this stuff. Because, but I'm just saying, it's not budget, we need to discuss it clearly before we get into this. Have a discussion.
Well, can you give us your vacation list so we can, make a workshop?
Guys, there's a, motion been on. Okay. Motion by Ms. Taylor, I got a second by Ms. Riley, all in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Oh, look at here, new business number 4, request approval to surplus, is that shoe? Voting machines?
You had to ask Ms. Dulcie on that one, but she says she don't care what they're named as long as they go.
I guarantee it.
I make that motion.
The door opens, the thing opens when you vote, is,
I make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
I'll second. I got a motion by Ms. Underwood, I got a second by Mr. Blackwell, all in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Y'all just made Dulcia's night.
Now, hold on, I do want to understand this, Mr. City Manager, because I think that you said the county still forces us to, annually, we can't really sign a long-term contract, so annually we have to do that, Dulcia?
I will get with her, but for this year it is, but I'll get with Bobo too to see if there's something we could do where it's like continuous type
I'll
thing.
time in that they have said they're interested in doing it for more than just 1
Yeah,
year.
because if we do a long term, that could get past you quick.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And they say they have to have time to add stuff to the machines and all that, so I didn't want it.
Then we have that election weeks,
Right.
special elections.
We should have, so in June, the election the referendum that's coming up in June, will that be at our facilities? Is the county taking care of it?
It will be,
Yes, sir.
it's November.
It'll be in November. We had tried to get it qualified for June. But they ultimately came back and said
It's a special election, something that, and Bill was trying to get in June, it was some kind of special election was next year.
we thought we found a exception that would allow it, and the state actually came back and said, no, this public service commissioner election would not qualify. November.
November.
Yes.
New business number 5, request approval of council of May 26, 2025, regular scheduled council meeting due to Memorial Day.
So this made me think about something, and it's something that we may discuss at another time, but I'd like to just kind of throw it out there. Have we considered having our council meetings on a day of the week that is not so common for holidays? Almost every holiday falls on a Monday. I feel like if we had our council meetings on a Tuesday, we would not be rescheduling this for a Tuesday.
You asked me, I'm biased.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Nothing, please.
Or even a Thursday, you know, yeah, or even a Thursday. What about it? And just throw-
Probably Wednesday.
I just think it's something that should discuss because I do.
There's nothing that says we can't do that, Ms. Riley.
I think we're doing a disservice by only holding one meeting a month or several of the months throughout the year.
Because December is the other one.
It's not just December, but it's later.
You got a lot of things.
There is, so we could accommodate it, but there is a procedure to it. The only other odd comment I'd make is a lot of the local municipalities do hold it on Tuesday, probably for that reason. But to the extent you have service providers or folks and you need them here, many of them will have scheduling conflicts.
Right.
But that shouldn't control your decision. I'm just throwing it out there.
When did the other cities have theirs? In NFN?
And even
believe
if we
that-
didn't change it, but like, instead of just flat out canceling the meeting, I would be more comfortable with a conversation about moving it to Tuesday for that week only. I feel like just bluntly canceling it,
It'll definitely do that.
especially,
Those days in advance, and we're gonna have just that meeting in this day.
I mean, instead of this motion, I would much rather see a request to reschedule to the 27th.
We can,
Right.
No, we can't.
Next week.
That is correct.
We cannot because that is the
The next
next
meeting.
it is the next.
Cancel it if it's a workshop.
I forget if y'all's charter or ordinance sets out the dates. You just need to amend. Yeah,
Okay.
It just says a second floor.
so we need to amend that.
If something really, emergency comes up, and we got to vote on it, we can always call a special call meeting at any time.
We can do that.
Mayor
again.
can be some-
Because Tuesday is the Monday after the bowl day.
Yeah.
On that particular one, if we do that Wednesday, I'm just throwing it out there, I'm saying we have to do that.
Yeah, I would think you move it. I mean, people is going for the weekend, that be gone till.
I'll be gone.
Yeah. We're out of school, so.
Someone change it to
So y'all better come up with a date so I can check
the
my dates.
27th, 28th.
Can we change it to the 28th?
If we have to, for some reason, cancel, we can have a special call meeting, right, to cancel it?
We can cancel either, yes.
Labor Day's the first Monday, so that doesn't affect us.
So there's a motion to change the 26th to the 28th and move forward with the meeting.
6 to the 28th and move forward with the meeting.
A second.
For that meeting on.
At the same time.
Same time, yeah, 6:30. Got a motion by Ms. Riley, I got a second by Mr. Blackwell, all in favor say aye. And opposed, motion passes. And, is there a need for executive session?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, motion's in order.
Make a motion to move to executive session.
Second.
Got a motion by Ms. Riley, I got a second by Ms. Underwood, all in favor say aye. Motion.
We didn't do that.
That's-